Why are mid-table clubs attackers always coming in twos? And what I mean by this is every single club within the mid-table of the Premier League, well, I'm not calling Newcastle a mid-table team, but they can be included as well. They always have two attackers where if you're a big six club, you're going to their ground and thinking it's going to be a long day defending against this duo. We all saw it with Arsenal playing against Newcastle, the threat of Isak and Gordon, the synergy, the connection, the way they went forward, the confidence they have. You know, if you're going to go to St. James's Park or you're going to play Newcastle, those two are the players you need to look out for. And it's been a common trend for a number of years. We look further backwards to West Ham in particular, a team that loves to spoil the big boys, a team that always wanted to put their all against the big guys. They'd have two attackers, again, who would do the spoiling, Antonio and Bowen. Those two guys, you knew if you were playing West Ham, your best chance was containing them because they had the quality, the strength, they were ugly to play against, they contributed for their team, they ran the extra yards. Those two players, they kind of made it a long day, and they have the connection as well. You knew if Bowen had the ball, he'd look for Antonio. Antonio as well would drop deep, play it to a teammate who would then find Bowen. There was always this connection. And these teams in and around the middle part of the table to the lower part of the table, they need that. We look now more modernly. You look at Ipswich, for example. You know, if you're going to play Ipswich, there's two guys who could cause you real problems, Hutchinson and Delap. It's always coming in twos, two attackers who are going to put the pressure on, who are going to contribute to their team. They're going to make it havoc. And yes, there's always other supporting acts in there. There's always players in and around those guys where you think, okay, like for West Ham, when it was the Bowen and Antonio, you had Declan Rice in the midfield to add that extra steal. You know, you with Gordon and Isak, you've got Bruno Guimaraes to add that extra steal. Alongside those two brilliant attacking threats, there's also a midfielder who is also really nifty and creative and is a real problem to really have that nice little triangle of players who are going to make it difficult for the opposition. And it's not just those teams. I can even point towards Brentford as well as another example. Wissa and Buemo. You know, if you're playing up against Brentford, not just because they're the two strikers, but they're just the two players with the most threat and the most connection on the pitch. You can see it when Brentford go forward, the point of attack, they look to Wissa, they look to a Buemo to create something. And when those guys are on it, when they've got the connection going, it is horrible to play against. It really, really is. The fact they're both bold as well, it's a great sort of thing as well. We saw Buemo laughing about the fact they're both bold. They've got that bold energy, that bold connection. But it really is a joy seeing two players at teams which are lower down the league really causing problems. And again, you know, the midfielder for Brentford nowadays is Damsgaard, the supporting act. So you've got Wissa and Buemo, then you've got Damsgaard as the supporting act. It really, really is an interesting sort of thing that I've noticed, really, that they always come with two really potent attackers and a midfielder with real quality. And normally that's enough. It really, really is enough. And you look at the teams now, you look at Southampton, who are those two attackers and the one midfielder with real quality? You know, they don't have it. Ipswich are lacking that midfielder with the real quality behind. Calvin Phillips is not really at the levels that he used to be. But you can tell there, the teams that have that real quality midfielder and the two attacking problems, they are doing really, really well in the Premier League. They really are. And it is good to see. It really is good to see that mid-table teams can, in a sense, possess so much quality and possess a lot of quality because it makes for the league to be really interesting. You don't want to just see Arsenal containing, you know, attacks of the opposition week in, week out because they don't have the quality, don't have the fear factor, or City or Liverpool, whoever it is. But now it seems as though every team down there or who's now challenging in those zones, they have those players. You know, Grealish used to be that guy with Watkins at Villa. And then they had the supporting act of I can say John McGinn was really quality in there, or Ross Barkley when he came on loan is more an example. They'd always have the supporting act to those two attacking players with quality. It's always been a persistent thing, and it is really, really interesting. It is. And I always point to the teams that are coming up from the Championship. Who are your two attacking potent players? Who are the two players in the attack who will bring that fear factor, the duo, the ever-present guys in the lineup? Next season, teams coming from the Championship need to have that with a quality midfielder behind, you know, then they'll have the success. But it's always come to my attention that there's always a duo and a top midfielder supporting, you know, the attack and threat of these teams. And yeah, I want to know your thoughts, guys, down below. Let me know your thoughts. This theory of these lower teams having two attackers and one quality midfielder, and they're able to really survive. It really is nice to see.